Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Really excited to be at this event. This is actually my first event as an emerging artist. So I'm super excited to meet everyone later on. So this talk is going to be about what happens when the beliefs that guide us for most of our lives, especially for me, the belief that effort always leads to results, stop working. And also, I'm going to talk a little bit about how interactive art helped me sit with that uncertainty instead of running away from it. Right, so a little bit about me. I grew up believing that hard work is everything. This came from my East Asian background, where effort is deeply tied to worth, progress, and identity. So for most of my life, this belief worked. If I wanted to do better, I studied more. If I wanted to try harder, things would improve. So it almost felt like an equation, effort in and results out. But then at some point, that equation broke. I reached burnout, not just exhaustion, but also confusion. I was putting in a significant amount of effort into things that I was passionate about, but I wasn't seeing any positive outcomes. And when effort stops giving you results, it makes you question not just your goals, but it also stunts your agency and your motivation. It makes you question whether you have any control over your life or not. What I realized is that in real life, it's not a simulation that you can run in a lab. Effort only changes probabilities, and probabilities, it's a tendency, not an actual outcome. There are so many variables that we don't control. For instance, timing, other people, economic instability, and political influences. And when those factors stack up against you, it can feel deeply unfair, even though nothing is really wrong. So in psychology, there's a concept called locus of control. It describes whether you feel outcomes come from your own actions, which is internal locus of control, versus whether actions come from forces beyond you, which is external locus of control. So when things go well, it's easy to feel like you're in control of your own life. But when things repeatedly don't work out, that sense of control can slowly shift outward. And you'll start thinking that nothing is within your control. This can lead to something called learned helplessness. It's not about giving up, it's about learning over time that trying doesn't seem to matter anymore. And the most important thing here is that helplessness is learned, which means it's not who we are and it's not permanent. So my first artwork, Transient Control, was born from these mixed feelings about wanting to act, but not knowing whether action would lead me anywhere. Wanted control, but realizing that it might only exist momentarily. This piece doesn't promise mastery or success. It only asks, what does it feel to try? So I'm going to very quickly do a quick demo. Um, so in this piece, essentially, it's a mannequin that you can control with your hands. using hand gestures. And I have a camera set up here so you can manipulate how the mannequin moves just by moving your hands. I'd actually like to call a volunteer up if anyone would like to try this out. Yes, please. So all you have to do is like stand in front of this camera here, okay, and just slowly like move your hands.
Like this?
Um, yeah, so that's a period of the animation where you're not in control. But for now, you could just slowly like tilt your hands. Yeah.
Share with my hand?
It's just gonna register these moments. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. So the purpose of this piece is to allow everyone to be able to interact with it, to feel how it is being able to be in control of this digital mannequin, and how it feels when you lose control of the mannequin. So every like couple random intervals or so, there will be an animation like this where you completely lose control of the mannequin. But in the default mode, you're able to kind of tilt and control the mannequin. Um, okay. So this is the next piece that I've recently worked on. And basically, this piece kind of represents the concept of learned helplessness and also the fear induced by loss of control. So when effort no longer feels just uncertain, but it also feels pointless. So this duck is also a metaphor for duck syndrome, which means that on the surface, everything looks very calm, but underneath there's this frantic effort just to paddle and stay afloat. So in this piece, essentially there's a duck in space, and as you move a little bit closer, you'll start to see these lights blink. And essentially, this is supposed to be a metaphor for there's this duck lost in space, and as you approach it, it gets scared of you, but it cannot move. It's kind of fixed there in space. And in the earlier version of this project, there are also sounds where the duck would kind of cry out frantically, but that's not on display today. But hopefully will be in the future. So the next piece of this is a work that I'm currently developing. So if transient control is about uncertainty and the duck in space is about helplessness, Polaris is about purpose and direction. Not just control, but orientation. And you don't need certainty to be able to move forward. Sometimes you just need a reference point like the North Star. Right. This is a little bit of the behind the scenes of how I was able to create these pieces. My background is in engineering, and I also studied film. There's a French term called mise en scène. I might be butchering it, but basically it teaches us that experiences are shaped by details, color, sound, timing, and atmosphere. So I try to bring that mindset into my work, and the technology is just a medium, and the experience is the message. Right. So I think I believe that technology is another medium of art, one that can be dynamic, responsive, and tangible. So here are a couple examples that I've put up here of artworks from artists that work in technology, such as Jim Campbell and Beeple. And I think in today's world, AI tools feel very intimidating. And I also strongly believe that these large language models that are being created should not be trained on copyrighted data in order to respect artists and authors' work. But I also do believe that there is a positive side to these tools. I believe that they can help augment human creativity, helping us visualize, learn, and also regain momentum when we're stuck. And I've also found it useful for helping me come up with ideas or even just like visualizing things using generated images. Yeah, so I was in a slump, but I wasn't able to get out of my slump all at once. It took one small action. I applied to this program, Art in Action, and that single action led me to another and gave me the confidence to keep working. And slowly, that sense of helplessness just softened into curiosity and motion. Great. Yeah, so this is a little bit about me. I'm an emerging technologist creating interactive work that invites people to engage physically and also emotionally. I love collaborating across disciplines, art, technology, or psychology. If any part of this resonates with you at all, I'd love to connect. And thank you so much for listening and for being a part of this experience. Thank you for CICA for creating a space like this.